So recording has started, and you will get an email of this session after the fact. It will also be posted on our YouTube and our Facebook channel. So just so you know, it is being recorded and we do want to share. I also do want to just make sure that all of your questions are getting answered as we're going through the information. And part of it is making sure that you're asking those questions. And before we have our session next week, as you're going in and using the system, making sure that you're writing down questions that you have so you can really get the most out of these sessions. Today is going to be a lot about making sure that you're set up correctly and knowing what you can do. Next week, we're going to work more on how do you use the system for marketing when you're a team. And then the week following, we're going to work more on action plans and how you set up those action plans so you're doing a team. And then the last session will be really how do you promote your website and do that side of things. So just so you know a little bit more about the path that we're taking, and that today is really about how do you set things up. So the first thing I want to just quick start with a few questions so I know who's on the call and where you're at as far as team. And the first thing I want to know is, what is your role on the team? Are you the team leader? Are you a team member? Are you the team admin? Kind of what is your role on the team that you're a part of today? And so I can know what information you need to better serve your team. So I've got 2 votes right now. We've got more people on the call than that. I really encourage you to participate. It helps me get more out of the information. And I do want to make sure we're getting all of that. So we've got a couple people left to answer, and it looks like most of the people on the call today are team members or admins, which is awesome. So how can you use IQ Office to better serve your team and make everything more cohesive? The next question I have for you all is, are you set up in IQ Office as a team? Has your management team set you up as a team in IQ? So one person has said yes. One person said, I don't know. Okay, perfect. Couple more people to answer here. Again, the more participation I get, the easier it is for me to make sure that I'm getting you information that's pertinent. Awesome. Okay, so the next question I have for you is, does your team have an admin, or are you just agents? Do you have a team leader, the owner of the team and team members, or does your team have an admin? Okay. All righty. How many people are on your team? This includes all your admins and all the agents on your team. Barb, you get a gold star for being the first one to answer. Okay, awesome, Sue. Okay. All right, so we have really a lot of different size teams here. Daveen, how many people are on your team now? And Angela, how many people are on your team? Perfect. Yeah, so that's a good question, Naveen. I would say an admin and an agent. An agent is out actively selling, and an admin is helping you with your paperwork and your marketing. They might be answering calls from clients, but they are not out showing homes. Angela, how many people are on your team? All right. Are you currently using anything to manage your leads and your contacts for the team? Do you have any system in place at this point? I'm sure some of you do. I'm sure some of you don't. Either way, if there's no wrong answer to this. And this also means your past clients. Like, are your past clients in any kind of system? Are they hearing from your team? Okay. And what about a team website? Do you have a team website or do you only have an individual website? Are you capturing people online? Do you have a team website where you're sending people? Perfect. I should have added this question, so I'm going to add it right now. The next question is going to be, is it your IQ website? So 3 people have a team website. I'm wondering if the rest of you, what are you using? Do you have a website for your team? Do you not have a website for your team? And where are you at? For those of you that did answer that question, are you using your IQ website? Okay, perfect. Awesome. Devine just brought up a really good point, and that point is, do you have a team social media page? How is your team interacting on social media? Do you have a team social media page, or is it just you, the team leader? Is it just the team leader and you all individually have pages? Awesome. So it looks like most people on the call are using social media and their web page. Thank you for answering all those questions right at the beginning. It helps me really know where to go to make sure that all of the information I'm providing you is valuable and it's not just repeat information that you don't need. Barb, it should be a poll. You should see a gauge on the right-hand side that says polls. So we're going to jump in then. The first thing I want to know and really talk about is, oh, perfect. Barb, technology is almost always perfect, but it's not always perfect. And that's the reason that we all have a job now. So the first thing I want to talk about is if you're set up in IQ Office as a team, you have a team website, but there is more that your team leader and you need to do to complete that setup in IQ. And the first part of it is going to your tools and preferences and sharing your contacts, your listings, and your home folders. What this does when you create a share is it gives the other agent or agents the ability to see your information in those categories. So for example, I can go into Victoria's and I can see that she has no shares found. To create a share, all you have to do is click new in the upper right-hand corner, and then you choose the agent that you would like to share your contacts with. Now, I think that it makes sense that everybody is allowed to create and update, but nobody that you share your contacts with is allowed to delete them. The reason for this is if I am working with Katie and Kelsey is sharing her contacts with Katie, I may put people in that I have that I need, and Katie might look at them and be like, we don't need that person. They're not in there anymore. Well, it's not Katie's contact. It's my contact, and I want her to be able to update and add contacts, but I don't want her to be able to delete people in my system. It also works if you are going to be leaving a team or you need to take a team member out. You can take these shares off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click save. And now when I close the screen, I can see that there is a share here. If they're not allowed to delete your contacts, it also means that if you have a team member or an admin or someone leaving, that they will not be able to go in and clean out your contacts before they leave. So if that makes sense, if y'all could just drop in the chat box or in the questions box, yes, that makes sense, or no, we need more explanation, that would really help me out. Perfect. So part of the art of a team is creating a seamless contact and knowing what's happening. And really at the heart of IQ Office, the goal is that you can actually see what everybody else is doing. So if Kyle has a conversation with a client and then Sue goes to follow up with that client, Sue can see what Kyle said. If I go in and I'm going to just act as myself here so I can show you what that share looks like. And now I go into my contacts and leads. I can actually see that there are just over 1,400 contacts in here. I can see in the leads category that there are 127 leads. What's really cool is you see up here where it says owner. I can actually go down and I can see if I want to just see leads that are Victoria's as a team member with this share, I can actually search and apply, and now I can see all the leads that are just hers. If I jump into one of these leads, I can actually see what's happening with it. So I can say, okay, who's the owner? What's happening? Why is it working? So I can see one, okay, well, the owner is Victoria. The user of it is Karen. It was first routed to Victoria, and I can see all that information. So if Sue has a lead that comes in and she says, hey, Kyle, I'm going to be showing property today. I need you to follow up with the leads that come in. Kyle can go into the system, see what leads are there, and actually know what's happening. Kyle can also go in and say, okay, well, I need to add this lead to an action plan. And he can choose the action plan that's assigned. All of the to-do actions for those leads will show up on everybody's dashboard. That becomes a place where, as a team leader or a team admin, you need to make sure that you're being very clear about whose job is it to go in and update these leads. This also is very helpful if you have a team admin or personal assistant, that they can go in and they can be in charge of keeping these things up to date and putting the notes in. So far, so good, gang. We're moving forward. I can't hear you, so if you don't type anything, perfect. Sue, you are on it today. Thanks, Kyle. Perfect. Thanks, Barb. So again, the next part in checking for your team, whether you're a team member or an admin or the team leader, is going in and making sure that you're sharing your contacts. If you want to share your listings and you need to share your listings, sharing your listings and sharing your home folder. The other thing that you can see is underneath that contact and lead tab, if you open up a contact and I add a note, underneath this history tab, it's going to tell you everything that happens. So if I go in and I say, hey, I need to add a note, and I'm going to say, called Joe about the home he wanted to see to set up an appointment. And I click add. There's a note here, but it also will show up in the history tab. So you know who does it. Again, I'm in and I'm just acting as Kelsey, as myself. So it shows right next to the note who adds the note. So if Barb goes in and adds a note, it would show Barb. If Kyle goes in and adds a note, it says Kyle. So that you can see in each portion of the note which person is adding and contributing, which I find super, super helpful. The next thing that I don't know that y'all know about, and it's a part of making sure that you're set up correctly, is going in and making sure you can share your home folder. Well, why would you want to share your home folder? Part of the goal of that is that if you have, maybe you have a team brochure that goes out, or you have a team, this is our team introduction letter. Any information that is a PDF form that you need to share with people on your team needs to go into that files and into that home folder. That means that only one member of your team needs to keep that home folder up to date. And the next thing that's really important is this My Coordinator Groups. So what that does is this creates a group that can access your actions and your action plans. So I would go in and I would call this Team Awesome Sales, which would be like your team name. And then I'm going to add the people on my team to this action group. That means that they can coordinate the actions for me. If they are not on your team, they will not be available as coordinators. Does that make sense? I'm assuming, like the doctor, that no news is good news. Awesome. Thanks, Kyle. Perfect. Thanks, y'all. So now all of the actions and action plans that I have due, everybody on my team will be able to see. This makes it really easy to stay up to date for leads and IQ. Because when you have a team, whether it's a team of 3 people doing it or a team of 26 people doing it, it makes it so that it's easy to log in, see what actions need to be due, and get things done. It also makes it so that when you log in, you can see the history of the client and you can get it done. The next thing I want to talk to you today about is creating action plans to either follow up with other agents on your team or to follow up with your clients. And again, this is all underneath the tools and the preferences button. And today's about making sure that you are set up and ready to go. So if you go to tools and you go to my action plans, you can actually create an action plan. And you click on the new button in the upper right-hand corner. And this might be a follow-up action plan name. And maybe you want to follow up with either your team members. And so we're just going to call it team follow-up. And it is applying to people, so it will be contacts and leads. I then can open my team follow-up plan and I can add action items. These are things like automatic system emails, follow-up requests, add to campaigns, and send surveys. I think the 2 things probably that as a team member you need to have on your action plans are follow-up requests and perhaps automatic system emails to make your life a little bit easier. A follow-up request is easy. You just put in the name, and maybe it is the weekly follow-up. And I'm going to say this is a weekly follow-up action for team members and hot prospects. Whatever it is. How many days after, 1 day after. You don't want to blacklist yourself if it's overdue. And I want this to repeat every 7 days forever. And click save. Now I've got that weekly follow-up request. To add an automatic email, the easiest way to do this is to go into marketing and create the content first. So as a team member, if you have maybe a weekly meeting that needs to happen and it needs to go out to your team members or your lead owners or something like that, you can actually create an email. Or if you're the personal assistant or the admin, or even if you're the team member who wants to make sure that you're on top of things because it's nice to have some things that are automated in our life. I don't believe in complete automation, but I do believe in some automation. And you could name this like your weekly check-in email. Weekly check-in, week 1. I'm going to name the content team email plan. And I'm going to add contact information here. So I'm going to say add to text, contact first name, wanted to check in for the week and see where you were with your leads and prospecting. Here is the quote of the week. And you would type something inspirational. Here, and maybe you have something like a video that you want to link to. Maybe you have some information that you found on the best types of follow-up plans. Like I found that it's really, you need in a year, you need to be talking to people at least 4 times a month, 2 personal contacts, 2 email contacts. 4 times 12 is 48, I believe. Please, yep, 4 times 12 is 48. And so making sure that you have all of the information and you have an action plan that's set that way. Like, this is the reason, this is the science I found, this is the inspirational quote. You put whatever you want in this content. And then you click OK. And then you just click save. What happens then is when you go to my action plans and I add a team follow-up and I add an automatic email, I can say agent lead check-in. And I can say it's due the next day after I assign it. And I want to send it to the assigned agent. So that means who owns the lead. Or I can send it also to the owner agent. I can say if I want to email copy myself. And then I search for the content. Here it is. I am looking in my content. You can always search under company content as well. And now it's added. And that's a system email that goes out. So as a team leader, you can set yourself up, or as a team member or as an admin, to be checking in with all the members of your team. So just to review the quick things that we did today, we're just about at that half-hour mark, and I want to make sure that we have a half hour for questions and answers and how do I check and do I know all of this. You're going to go into your tools and preferences. You're going to create your shares underneath your shares. You're going to create coordinator groups to make sure that you can actually share your actions with your action plan people. And you're going to make sure that you have action plans in place so that you can either follow up with your contacts or with your team members in an effective way. I also find that if you don't put something on your calendar, it doesn't happen. So I'm just going to put up out a poll. To see, is it on your calendar? We'll start that poll. Because I do want to make sure that you all are saying, okay, these are the things I need to do. If you don't know if you're set up in IQ as a team, you need to ask your office administrator. If they don't know, they're more than welcome to call me or send me an email and we can figure that out. I sent them all an email on how to set up the team in last week in preparation for this to make sure that you all could do. Perfect. Awesome, Kyle. Good job, Barb. I think that it's really important that everybody stays on the same page. If you don't know how you're set up, you need to talk to your office admin. They have a tab underneath this roster called Teams, and you can actually go in here and you can see if you have Teams. But you're going to want to make sure I'm an admin in the system so I can add a team. But you want to know what the team name is, who's the team leader, what's the team website, who do they get the default email from, how are they routing team leads. That all gets put in here so that your team is set up for success. And I want to say it's under, if you go to the agents users roster, I think you can say, nope, you can't. But you need to make sure that you're actually going in and making sure you're set up as a team. What that does is it makes it so that everybody can edit your website. It makes it so that leads come in and the team leader can distribute leads out, or the team admin can distribute leads out the right way. That once you go and you add those shares, and hopefully in the near future, all of that will be automated. So once you've created the team, all those shares will automatically create. But it is about first making sure you're set up for success. What questions can I answer for you today? It does not need to be specific to what we went over, but I do want to make sure that you're getting enough questions. And I know that you all are very busy. It takes a lot out of your day as you're building your team and you're working with your team, especially those of you that are know that we're entering into springtime, which is typically a good time for everybody across the nation. If you're in the north, it warms up. If you're in the south, it is like the best time of the year because it's like 75. But what can I do to answer your questions about making sure you're set up, or just about in general how you go in and look at things? So Barb, your team isn't actually going to be listed in the roster. The only place you're going to see the teams is underneath that teams here. Are you talking about here, Davine, are the reports? Barb, then you're not an office administrator, and you need to go in and you need to ask your office admin and just make sure that it's all set up right. I believe, Davine, that these are for individual agents, but let's see. Let's just look at them. And I don't know if you see them. I need to actually log out. These reports that you're going to see are typically going, yeah, perfect. Are typically going to be specific to you, the agent. However, if you're attached to the team website, it should include those statistics in them. I just thought of something when I was looking at this that I wanted to make sure you knew about. What was it? It will come to me. Really making sure you're going in, your action plans are set up, your coordinator groups are set up, your shares are set up, and that you're in as a team is super important. If you're not in as a team, it's really hard. Oh, that's what I was going to show you. You also can allow other people to act for you. I can, Kyle. So underneath your profile, let me show you all this first. Underneath your profile, you can actually go to the Preferences tab, and there's a section that says Allow Acting as Me. So if you want a person on your team to be able to act as you, you can actually say, hey, I want Victoria to be able to act as me. Now, just because Victoria can act as you does not mean that you can act as her. So just keep that in mind if you want to have someone, hey, Davine, I want to be able, you want me as your OA office admin or as your personal assistant to be able to go in and act as me. You can allow that, but you have to set that up underneath allow acting as me. You also can say that you want all your leads to be assigned to someone. So that's an option that you have there too. So Kyle, you jumped in about 5 minutes late, but I do want you to know what we're going to cover. So today is really, the goal of today is what do you need to do to set yourself up as a team, setting up your action plans, doing your shares, doing that part. I'm going to try and keep all the sessions to 30 to 45 minutes at the longest, including questions and answers, so that it's high volume information, but you're able to get out and I'm not taking too much time. Next week, we're going to go through setting up marketing email campaigns and what are your tools there and some good ideas for teams on how to do that. The third session will be how to access your website and make sure your team website is up and running and edit that as well. And then the fourth session will be promoting yourself, bringing leads in, and making sure that you're working a plan and you're coming up with a plan for your team for promoting yourself online successfully. All of the sessions will be recorded and you'll get an email with the recordings. We're recording this session right now. As soon as we're done recording, we will make sure that it gets emailed out. It'll take about a half hour to render the recordings. Yeah, no problem. So the challenge for you before next Tuesday at 1 o'clock Pacific time is to go in and make sure that you and all your team members are set up for success, that you are sharing your listings, you're sharing your home folders so that you can have access to documents, you're going in and really making sure this coordinator group section is set up right and your shares are set up right. That will make it so much easier when we go in and we start to do marketing. So creating marketing, we'll talk about promoting your listings as a team and how that works as well. And really going in and diving into how to take care of your people so that they know that whether it's a team of Davine, Barb, Kyle, and Katie, that no matter who they're talking to on the team, they feel taken care of and they're moving forward. Any other questions? So Davine, you can do that. I don't think it's necessary. That second associate was really added before the Teams feature was fully developed in IQ. And so once you're in as a team, you don't need to worry about that as long as you're setting up your shares the right way. You can always ignore things. There's so much to learn in this system and there's so much information that really taking baby steps in to how do you set up yourself for success and starting to make sure that you're using it on a daily basis is more important than knowing it all and using 100% of everything every day. As long as you're building on your knowledge, and that's really the goal of these, is how do we build on your knowledge so that your team can grow and you can grow and you're getting more leads and you're taking care of more people. All right, I'm going to hang out for a couple more minutes to make sure there's no more questions. Again, this is being recorded. You'll get an email here shortly after, but if there's no other questions, I want to really encourage you to jump in, make sure that you're getting everything set up the right way. If you are a team member, which most of you on the call today said you were, make sure that your team leader knows what they need to do as well so that they can get in there and make sure that everything's set correctly and you can actually use the system in a really beneficial way. And I really look forward to working with you all. I'm really excited about this series. I think it's going to be awesome. And I'm really excited to see how you use it, and it keeps you in touch with all of your people in a more efficient way. Bye, Barb. Bye, Kyle. Bye, Davine. You're welcome, Sue. And Sue, your team is really large, it sounds like. And so if you need some help with the best way to set things up, just shoot me a message on Facebook. I'm more than happy to help you with that too.